Back in January of this year, I put out a video on how you can control your car with your iPhone and your Apple Watch for absolutely free. Now, not long after I put out that video in January, Tesla changed how the login works on your car, and it broke everything in that video. Flash forward a month in February, I found a workaround. I put out another video on how to get it working, and shortly after that video came out, Tesla made another tweak to its back-end servers, and it broke again. So it's been 3 months. I've been looking for all kinds of ways to make this work, and I have finally figured out a way to get all of this working again. So if you would like to control your Tesla from your iPhone, from your Apple Watch for absolutely free, and do all kinds of really cool automations that are difficult to find or impossible to find in the apps that are available on the App Store, watch this video. So for this video, I took down the other two videos that are up on my channel, and I took the first video and I have re-edited that video with new content that I just recorded with the new information along with the old content that still works, so you can watch the one video and follow straight through. So let's get right back into it with the May 2021 version of how to control your Tesla from your iPhone and your Apple Watch absolutely free. Hey Siri, open the trunk. Hi, this is Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy. Welcome back to the channel. Now in this video, I'm going to do something different. I love Tesla, and another thing that I love to do is programming, and I thought I would take both of those loves and put them together into a single video to show you how you can control your Tesla from your watch, from your phone for free. Now, I know that there's a lot of apps on the App Store. Those are great apps, but they also come at a cost. But what many people don't know is that you can actually do a lot of this automation yourself with the iPhone that you have to control your car, as far as opening the frunk, opening the trunk, unlocking the doors, honking the horn, flashing the lights, turning the climate control on, setting the climate control to a particular temperature, and you can even set your charge limit to a specific number instead of having to try to figure out using the app or your car and the little slider to get it exactly where you want. Well, you can set that to the exact percentage you want. And all of this can be done for free, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, before we get started, I should say as a disclaimer, this only works for iOS devices. Now, that's iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and Apple Watch. If you're an Android user, I'm sorry to say that you're out of luck, at least in this particular video. And the other thing that I'm going to say is that with iOS devices, we're going to be using an application called Shortcuts. Now, Shortcuts is an application that is free to download from the App Store and is actually distributed by Apple. I'm going to present this video in 3 different layers. Now, the first layer is going to be, I'm going to just show you how you can get this working on your phone in your car as quickly as possible. The second layer is we're going to dive into the shortcuts that I'm going to show you how to use, what makes them safe, how do they work, how can you edit them, how can you customize them, how can you understand what's going on. We're going to get in there for that. And the third layer, if you stick around, is I'm going to show you how you can take these shortcuts, pull them together with a lot of other things, and automate a lot of things that can happen with your car automatically without you having to do anything. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video, and stick around for as long as you can. And I do appreciate your feedback. Now, before we get started, I'm going to be presenting all of the tools to you to do this for absolutely free. You're going to be able to download all of the links and all of the shortcuts that we talk about in the description below. And the only thing that I ask for is that you slam that like button and you hit that subscribe button. And that really helps the channel out, and it helps me continue creating videos like this. So let's get started. So in order to make this work, you have to have an app on your device called Shortcuts. Now, you can find this in the App Store, and it is an app that's created by Apple. So just go to the App Store, find Shortcuts, and download the app. Now, the Shortcuts app is an application that allows you to program your device to do various things. It can do a lot of different things, and what we're going to talk about now is how do you actually control your Tesla. The Shortcuts apps allow you to create little small programs that allow you to do various things on your device. So if you don't have it installed, go out to the App Store and get it, and come on back and then watch this video. Now, at first glance, when you open the Shortcuts app, it can look a little intimidating, but trust me, I've done the heavy lifting for you, and I'm gonna make this process super simple for you. So below in the video description, you're gonna find a number of iCloud links. Each one of these links take you to the various shortcuts, and you're going to want to tap on these links from the device that you want to install the shortcuts on. Now, when you tap on one of these links, it's going to pull up the shortcut, and it's going to ask you to install. By default, you will not be able to install shortcuts from anywhere other than the gallery within the Shortcuts app. What you need to do before you can download these links is you need to go out of the Shortcuts app, go back to your settings on your device, find Shortcuts, and then turn on the untrusted sources. This is just basically saying, I want to be able to install shortcuts from someplace other than Apple. If you're unsure about doing this, watch the rest of this video, and hopefully I will give you some assurances that what we're doing here is absolutely safe and absolutely secure with your data. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the App Store on your iOS device and search for an app called Auth app for Tesla, and I'll show it right here. This app will allow you to do your login with Tesla and gain access to something that we're looking for, which is called an access token. An access token allows other things like the Shortcuts app that we're going to show you to control your Tesla. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and get this app. Now, once it's downloaded, go ahead and open the app and run the app, and I'll select open here. And what it's asking you to do is log in. You have sign in with Tesla. When I click the sign in with Tesla button, you are actually going to see a login with your username and password. Now, what you're actually seeing here is a web view of Tesla's site. This is the exact same login that Tesla uses when you log into their site using your account. So you're not sharing your login information directly with this app. What you're doing is that you are sharing it with Tesla, and Tesla is going to pass back what is called a access token. So the next thing you want to do is log into the app with your username and password for your Tesla account. So once logged in, hit the sign in button. And if all goes well, you'll see a screen pop up with a refresh token and an access token. There are a bunch of characters that won't mean anything to you, and that's really all you need at this point. You can go ahead and close out of this particular app, because one of the things that it does do is it installs a custom shortcut integration that we will tap into next. So after you installed the app, the next thing you want to do is you want to go to the link in the description below and download the shortcut called Get Tesla Login. And this is what's going to allow us to tap in to that access token we just got from that app and then control the rest of the car. So go ahead and get that now. Now, the second shortcut that you're going to want to download is something called Wake Up Car. This is a shortcut that will help you log into your Tesla and wake your car up, because if your car isn't woken up, a lot of these commands actually won't do anything. So the first thing you want to do is wake up your car. So go ahead and install that. Just to get you started, download the shortcut called Flashlights. And once that's installed, go ahead and tap it. Now, the flashlights will then call the Tesla login, it will call the wake up car, and then it will call a command to flash your lights. And if your lights flash on your vehicle, you know everything's set up and everything's set up correctly. Okay, so if you stuck around this long, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the second layer of this particular video and show you what's actually happening with these shortcuts and how they work. So before we decide to dive in, let's first talk about what's actually happening and how we're able to do what we're able to do with the Shortcuts app. Well, it all comes down to what's called an Application Programming Interface, or API, that's published by Tesla. Now, Tesla publishes this API to allow third-party companies to gain access to various features that they want to give you access to. And in this case, they allow you to send commands or get status from the car. Now, down in the description, I provide you a link to Tesla's API and the commands that are associated. We're going to be touching on most of these commands in this part of the video. So let's take a look at what's going on inside these shortcuts. And we're going to start with the Get Tesla Login shortcut. You see this in the top left-hand corner of the screen in a pink square that says Get Tesla Login. Now, to see what's going on inside any shortcut, you want to touch the ... in the upper right of that shortcut. So we're going to do that now. Now, once inside, let me look at the layout here, which is there are a bunch of things stringed together on the left-hand side, and then there's some things on the right-hand side on the iPad. Now, the things on the left are the commands that are actually executing when you run this particular shortcut. The things on the right handle things that you can add to the shortcut. So we're going to step through what's actually happening in this shortcut step by step and show you what's happening in the background. So the first thing that we're going to look at here at the very top is a shortcut called Auth app for Tesla. That's that app we just installed that goes out and gets that particular access token for your particular login and gets it and says, give me that access token. And then it passes it to the next line, which is called set variable. And think of set variable as just a place to store a piece of data. And it's going to take that access token and it's going to store that piece of data into a variable that we're defining access token. Now, once we have the access token, we have to get a little bit more information from your car. And we can make a call to Tesla, to this particular call here, and pass your access token, and it will return information about your car. Now, this particular shortcut assumes that you have one car, so it's going to get the first car from the list. If you have multiple cars, you can tweak this to get the first car, second car, or third car, depending on how many Teslas you own. And it's going to get the first item, and it's going to pull that information out of a dictionary and stick it into a dictionary, which is basically a collection of information that it can use in later aspects of the shortcut. So once you're done looking at this, you can go ahead and actually run this by clicking the Run button in the upper right-hand corner on the iPad. There's actually a Play button on the iPhone as well. And if we hit Run, you can see that it runs through this, and we go ahead and it shows us our access token at the bottom, and that's what we need to pass on to the other shortcuts in order to make this all work. The next thing that we're going to want to do once we have the car ID and the access token is we want to wake up your car, because your car could be sleeping. And we're going to do that with this shortcut called Wake Up Car. So what's going on inside there? So we're going to hit that ... again, and it takes us to the list of what this shortcut does. So let's take a look at what it does. Now, the first thing that it does on the list, again, is accepts nothing, because it doesn't need to pass anything in. But wait a minute, we're going to need to log in. How are we going to deal with that? Well, the next line shows we're going to run a shortcut called Get Tesla Login. So the very first thing when you try to wake up your car, it's going to say, go log in and do what you need to do. And then it's going to take that output, remember that drawer of variables, of boxes of information, and it's going to pull that out of the login, and it's going to get what's called your token. And there's a bunch of set variables here that you really don't need to worry about. And the next thing that it's going to do is it's going to call a command. Again, it's another secure connection to Tesla's API that we call your vehicles list. We pass in that X ID that it shows there. That's the ID of your car. It's a variable name, and it's going to call the command wake_up. And that is going to then tell your car to wake up. Now down here you'll see also below that is a scripting wait 1 second. So there's going to be a pause of a 1 second, and then it's going to save again all of those variables in that drawer of stuff, the drawer of boxes, so we can pass this on to the next shortcut and use that information. So let's go ahead and run this by hitting the play. And we're logging in, and we're waiting 1 second, and we get good information at the bottom. It's going to look like a bunch of gobbledygook, but if you get something back that's not an error, generally that's good. So now that we've got the Get Tesla login, again, it's secure, it's living on your device, and you're only passing it to Tesla and nowhere else, and you're getting your access token, and you're getting your car list and your car IDs, and we've called the command to wake up your car. Now we can start doing some interesting things. And the first thing that I wanted you to download was a shortcut called Flashlights. Let's see what the Flashlights does. We're going to hit the ... in the Flashlight shortcut. And let's walk through what's happening here. The first one is it's going to call wake up car, and that's it. And the wake up car, if you remember, is going to call the login and wake up your car. So after, and pause a second. So it's going to wake up your car, and from there it's going to get those variables, those boxes of information, and then it's going to call Tesla's site with a command called flash_lights. And then it's going to show a notification on your device saying command sent. You get a little push notification on your device saying command sent. And if it all goes well, the lights on your car will flash. So we'll go ahead and hit play here. Again, waking up the car. It's going to log in first. It's waking up the car, gets the information, it flashes the lights. And in my case, the lights flashed. If your lights flashed, then your wake up and your login logic works perfect, and the rest of these shortcuts will work out really nice and easy for you. Now, if you look at the list of shortcuts here, there are a lot to choose from, and I provide links for you to download each one of these to install separately. I have one to honk the horn, unlock the doors, lock the doors, start the climate controls, stop the climate controls. Again, we've already covered flashlights. Open the charge port, close the charge port, open the trunk, open the front trunk. And there's two more that we're going to cover separately, but generally this is the general list of basic commands. They all are structured exactly the same. They just send a different command to the car. And then to use any of these with Siri, it's just as simple as saying the command. Now, why didn't we use open frunk versus open front trunk? At least in my case, Siri doesn't understand the word frunk, and it would always convert it to Frank, and it would say open Frank, and it wouldn't know what to do, so I had to rename this to open front trunk. Now, you can rename any of these to anything you want. Whatever you name it to, it will be what Siri uses for that command. So how do you rename things? Well, let's go into the flashlights by using the ... And up at the very top, there's a ... next to the title. Let's go ahead and check that. Here you can change the icon, the color, and you can change the name of the particular shortcut. You can say flash my lights. And if you change to flash my lights, then the Siri command changes to flash my lights. Now, there's two shortcuts on here that do a little bit extra that I want to cover separately. One is set temperature to, and the other one is set charge level. And they do exactly what they say. If you want to set the particular temperature of your climate controls to a particular temperature, you can run this particular shortcut. And they work a little bit differently because they have different inputs. So I'm just going to run the set temperature to, and it's going to log in, it's going to wake up the car, it's going to call set temperature, and now it says what temperature, and I say 70 degrees. And it uses a voice prompt to send that command. While I was talking, it actually took different text, so I'm going to run this again real quick. "70. And then it now set the controls on my car to 70 degrees, which is really nice if you just want to use your voice. The second one also takes input, but it's not voice. It's done by picking a list. Now, with one of the frustrations that a lot of people have, including myself, is that if you want to set your charge level to a very specific number, like exactly 80%, on the app and in the car, all you have is the little slider, and it makes it very difficult to find out the 80. Sometimes it's 79, sometimes it's 81. How do you get it exactly to 80? Well, you can use a shortcut to do that. So we'll go ahead and run this set charge level. log in, wake up the car, but this time I'll be presented with a list. What do I want to set the charge limit to? I'll just tap 80, and now my car is set to exactly 80%. I'll run it again if I want to charge it to a different level. %, and now it's set to exactly 70%. So these are the shortcuts. You might be asking, what other things can I do? Well, the answer is there are a few more things. And down below in the description, I do provide a list of commands if you want to play around with these. But for me, these are the ones that seem to make the most sense and the ones that I would use the most often. So hopefully you have a better understanding of what the Shortcuts app is and how it's talking to Tesla and how it's talking to your car, and that it's safe to use, and your particular login information is only used by your device, and it's sending it to Tesla, who has your login information anyway, and it's done securely. At no time is that information given to any third-party company or myself. It's all done seamlessly in the background directly to you and Tesla. It's exactly like logging into the website or logging directly into their app. So this is the end of layer 2, and hopefully that you've gained a better understanding of what's going on. And if you want to stick around further, what we're going to do is we're going to take this all to the next level. Each one of these things is really cool, but you can actually start chaining some interesting things together to make what's called an automation. And you can trigger those automations to do various things at various times. And the automation that we're going to make is, I want to prepare my car to go in the morning. Now, I know you can set up in your car to have it turn on the climate controls at a certain time on a weekend, and exclude weekends, on weekdays only. But what we're going to do is we are going to use your phone and not the car to say, at a certain time in the morning, and for me it's 7:30 in the morning, I'm going to ask myself, is it a weekend or a weekday? And if it's a weekday, I'm going to continue, and then I'm going to say, what's the outside temperature today? And if the outside temperature is less than 60 degrees, it's going to go ahead and start the climate controls. So that is a kind of a cool thing, because it's a functionality, piece of functionality that you can't accomplish using the Tesla by itself. So if it's a warm day, or if it's warm enough that you don't need the climate controls, it's not going to turn them on. And if it's a weekend, it's not going to turn them on. So I'm going to build that from scratch so you can kind of see what the process is, and we'll go from there. And that's layer 3. And if you're interested in that, stick around. Hi, if you stuck around for the next section, you may have some interest in doing some automation. And as I said before, we're going to automate waking up your car in the morning, or really any time of day for that matter, evaluating whether it's a weekend or not, and examining what is the current temperature right now. And if it's cold enough for whatever you want to set, we're going to then enable the climate controls of the car. Otherwise, we're not going to do it, which is something that the Tesla can't do by itself. And you can accomplish that with shortcuts all automatically without you needing to do anything. And I'm going to show you how to build that. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to make this a little easier for you. We're going to need 2 shortcuts, and there's a link down here on how to download those. And the first one that we need to download is Get Weekday. You can see this on my screen in the upper right. And the next one is Get Current Temperature, which you can also see on the screen just next to Get Weekday. And install those. This will kind of give you a quick shortcut into building what we're going to build. So what do those do? Let's take a look at it. The Get Weekday, click the ... All it does is it says, give me the current date, and then it's going to do some formatting and then pass back the number associated with the week. Now, a 6 or a 7 is a weekend, and day 1 through 5 is a weekday. The Get Current Temperature, we'll set the ... on that. It uses the built-in weather app on your device. And all it does is it says, go out and get your current location wherever you happen to be. So you could be traveling, and this will work as well. It's going to then download the weather conditions. Now, when you get the weather conditions, it comes back with basically it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny, Well, all I wanted to do is extract out that number 27. So what I do is we split that text up and we look for the degree symbol, and I take the first item that's before the degree symbol and I turn that into a temperature, and I basically pick it from a list. So get me the temperature, and that's what this shortcut does. So now we're going to start building out the wake up a car. Now I already have it done for me because I built it, but we're going to build another one, and we're going to start by hitting the plus button. And what that does is it brings up a very empty screen. And the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to run a shortcut. So we're going to go into the search and we're going to type in shortcut, and we're going to run shortcut, and I'm going to drag it up here, and it says, what shortcut do you want to run? I'll tap it, and I'm going to say get weekday. All right, so that's going to pass back a weekday, and I need to do something with that piece of data. I need to store it somewhere. I need to put it in a box, and when you do that, you do what's called a set variable. So I'm going to type in set variable. I'll drag that below. Again, we work from top to bottom. I'm going to get a variable name weekday, and it's already going to pass in whatever that shortcut result was. So the next thing we got our weekday, and it's now in that box of that variable box called weekday. And now we want to then run another shortcut. And this one, we want to say get current temperature. And again, that's going to pass in the temperature, so we need to put that in a variable, set variable. And in this variable name, we're going to call it temperature. And again, that shortcut result is what gets passed into that. So now that's really all you have to do in this shortcut to say, get my weekday, get my temperature. So the next thing we want to do is we have to say, put in a condition that is conditional on whether it's a weekday or not, or if the temperature is low enough. And we do that with what's called an if statement. Just, if this or this, then do that. So we're going to type in if, and we're going to say if temperature, and notice we get a list here. This list doesn't really have anything associated with a particular number, and you have to tell temperature, you have to tell the variable what it is, and we're going to go ahead and select our shortcut result for temperature, and instead of as text as it shows there on the bottom, we're going to change that to, if I can find it, number. So we're going to be evaluating that as a number. I'm also going to go up here to my weekday and change that from text, because I don't want it to be text. I want that to be also a number. So once I set those values to a number, I have to come here and select my variable temperature. I want to evaluate that as a number. Select number. And then if I click my condition, now I will have a greater than or less than. So now if the temperature is, in this case, less than or equal to, and in my case 60, and it could be whatever number you feel comfortable with turning on your climate controls, do something. Otherwise, do something else. Well, if it's less than 60, I want to check if it's a weekday. So I need to do that with another if statement. I'm going to take that if statement and I'm going to drag that in under here. So if we are less than 60, instead of temperature, I want to clear that out, and I want to pick a different input, and I'm going to say weekday, and my weekday will evaluate as a number. So if weekday condition is greater than or equal to, in this case, 6, which means 6 is a Saturday, 7 is a Sunday, do something. And the first thing we want to do is, if that's true, is run a shortcut. And the first shortcut we want to run, it's the same as every other shortcut we want to run. The first thing you need to do is wake up your car. Wake up car. And what that does, if you remember, is it logs into your Tesla account and it wakes up your car, and it waits a second, and then it's ready for you to send a command. And now in the morning when it's going, your car may be in a deep sleep, and sometimes a 1-second delay isn't going to cut it. So what we're going to do is we are going to wait a little more time. And in this case, I'm going to wait 15 seconds. Okay, then after the 15 seconds, we are going to run another shortcut, which we already have, and it's already on the list if you downloaded it, and that is Start Climate Controls. Now, you could stop here, and it would work, and it would do the evaluation correctly, but there's a couple of things to make this a little nicer, and one of those things is you might want to have it vibrate your device to say that it did it. And I'm going to drag in my vibrate device. It says it's not available on the iPad, but if you did this on your phone would vibrate. And you can drag a couple of those in there if you want to go buzz, 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 and it comes in there. The other thing that you can do if you want is you can then turn off the climate controls if it doesn't meet those criteria. So we can do that by run shortcut. So otherwise, so if it didn't meet the criteria, we want to stop climate controls. And then we have another one here on that first if statement to say stop climate controls. So if either it is not a weekday or its temperature is greater than 60 degrees, it's going to then just tell it, don't turn it on. So maybe it was on, just don't turn it on, send a stop control. And then basically you're done. Now if you want to get some feedback after to tell you that it actually ran, you can do that by what's called a notification. We can do a show notification here, and instead of saying hello world, you can say car ready, or whatever you want it to say. And when you run this particular shortcut, it'll go ahead and evaluate it, and we'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and try running this by hitting the plus, by hitting the play button. It's running, it's sleeping. So when I ran this, it actually stopped the controls. It's because I made a mistake. And where did I make a mistake? Well, I made a mistake in the setting for the evaluation of the weekday, and you might have caught it while watching this video, and if you did, great job, then you're a little better at this than I am. So if we go down to that particular evaluation, we said, is the weekday greater than or equal to 6? Well, I basically said, run this if it is a weekend. So I actually don't want it to be. So I want to change that greater than to less than 6. So it will run if it's 1 to 5, but it will not run if it's a 6 or a 7 or a Saturday or a Sunday. So let's go ahead and try that again by hitting the play button. Gets the current temperature. It's waking up the car. Now it's going to wait 15 seconds in case it's in a deep sleep. Now, if you find that this shortcut doesn't work for you very often and 15 seconds isn't long enough, I recommend adding a couple more wake-up cars with a couple of more delays, and that will give the car enough time to wake up if it's in a deep sleep in the particular morning. You can see now it's actually doing a start controls, and everything worked fine. And it says it couldn't vibrate my device because it's an iPad, but if it was an iPhone, it would vibrate and tell you that it worked. The last thing you need to do is you need to give the shortcut a name. It says new shortcut ... We want to hit the ... give it a name. Get my Tesla ready to go. And I can change the icon or the color by tapping on it, and that will do what you need it to do. Exit out to my shortcuts. Now, that by itself won't do anything in the morning. You have to say what time do you want to get it done, and the way you do that is using what's called automation. And if I tap the automation, it allows you to do various things, and I can create a personal automation and I can create a home automation. And what we're looking to do here is what's called a personal automation. I'm going to go ahead and tap that, and you can trigger any shortcut by a number of events, and in this case I'm going to do time of day. I'm going to pick time of day, and in my case it's going to be 7:30 a.m. I'm going to do it daily because remember, it's we have a choice between daily, weekly, and monthly, and I only really want it on the weekdays, but that's why we put that condition in there to check. We're going to make it run every day. And the next is add an action. What do you want to do? Well, in our case, we are going to type in shortcuts, run shortcut, and the shortcut we just created, which is get my Tesla ready to go. I hit next and hit done. Now your shortcut will run every morning at 7:30. But there is a step here. It will actually prompt you. Do you want it to run? Maybe you just want to do it automatically. If you go back into that automation, at the very bottom here, there's a thing that says ask before running. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Don't ask. And now every day at 7:30, it's going to run that particular shortcut behind the scenes. You didn't have to do anything, and on the weekends, it won't turn on your car. And if it's too warm outside, it won't turn on your car. And if it's cold enough, it will turn on your car, which is really nice because it's something that the particular Tesla can't do on its own to that level. Based on outside temperature conditions. So that's layer 3. I built the shortcut for you from scratch. There's a lot of things that you can do with geolocation, and just shortcuts is a really, really cool application for you to get into programming without really programming and do a lot of automation on your device, far beyond controlling your Tesla. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please let me know in the comments. I might do more of these videos. If you didn't like it, let me know it in the comments as well. And please feel free to share this with your friends that you think might get some usefulness out of controlling their Tesla with their voice without spending any money on an additional app. So until Tesla actually releases an app with some voice capability built into it, we are forced to rely on something that's third party. So thank you for your time. I know this was a long video, but hopefully you found it to be worth it. Otherwise, I appreciate it. Thank you.